Hello everyone, welcome to today's forum in response to the International Month of Peace and Love. Starting from September 1st, we will be having a series of forums and activities every day to share the idea of peace, love, and conscience with you. At this critical post-pandemic moment, we believe through spreading the positive impact, an important message can unite more and more people to get through this difficult time. On September 11th, it was the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attack in the US. It was a devastating and chaotic moment for the country and the whole world. Tai Ji Men Cultural Goodwill Group was there in New York when the 9/11 attack happened in 2001. Although Hawaii was said to be the next target, Tai Ji Men still chose to fulfill their promise and fly there to hold the ceremony of ringing the bell of world peace and love to calm and comfort people's hearts, hoping that the living could feel secure and the deceased could rest in peace. However, a group that has been dedicating to spreading the message of love and peace throughout the world is maliciously persecuted by its own government using illegal taxation and judicial measures for 25 years long. Last August, their properties which were planned to build as a self-cultivation place was even illegally auctioned off. The Tai Ji Men case, which suffered from serious human rights violation, has also caused awareness and condemnation by the international. There's a short video aired by the MNN on the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 and talked about the Tai Ji Men case. Let's take a look.
We would like to really start with revisiting the 9/11, an incident that really shook the world. And before we dive into the stories, we have a clip that takes us back to 2001.
Let us fill the hearts of world citizens with love and peace. September 12, 2001.
Years ago, Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy visited Washington, D.C. as ambassadors of peace and goodwill.
The Mayor of the District of Columbia does hereby proclaim March 22nd, 2000 as Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy Day in Washington, D.C., and we welcome these international ambassadors of peace and goodwill.
21 years later, members of Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy returned to Washington, D.C. to seek justice and raise international awareness of their situation. Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy is a spiritual group with various academies in Taiwan and the U.S. The group strongly believes that they are being persecuted in democratic Taiwan through a tax evasion indictment beginning in 1996 that reached Taiwan's Supreme Court.
Now we will have 3 young speakers with the brave stories to voice their opinions about the ongoing injustice lasted for 25 years. The first speaker, she is now studying as a graduate student. Please welcome Clare.
Thank you, Iris. Hello, everyone. My name is Clare. I'm a graduate student in the Department of Epidemiology. Nowadays, the coronavirus epidemic is raging globally. We can now better realize the rapid changes in climate, everything, and even human beings which interact with each other in a way that exceeds our expectation. I can't help but wonder what a world full of love and peace would look like. In my heart, a world full of love and peace should be full of birds, flowers, and pleasant seasons where all living things coexist and flourish. It sounds difficult to realize such a world of love and peace. But my 师父, Dr. Hong 掌门人 of Tai Ji Men, has always led us by example to influence the world, working hard for a pure land full of love and peace. Under his leadership, Tai Ji Men 师父 and 弟子 have visited over 300 cities in 101 countries, participating in over 3,000 cultural performances both domestically and internationally. However, it is ironic that while Tai Ji Men 师父 and 弟子 are devoting themselves for love and peace, they are also being persecuted by the Taiwan government for illegal and taxation violence. As early as July 13, 2007, the Supreme Court found Tai Ji Men not guilty of fraud, tax evasion, or violation of tax codes. The Supreme Court also determined that the red envelopes to the 师父 were gifts and were tax-free income. But the National Tax Bureau totally ignored the judicial decision and insisting on issuing the illegal tax bill. On August 21, 2020, the National Tax Bureau and the Administrative Enforcement Agency joined hands to forcibly auction off and nationalize the land belonging to Tai Ji Men by the government and take away the bonus. This was a very heartbreaking experience. Last summer, when we learned that our home, our land, was going to be auctioned off illegally by the government, although it was the hottest time of the year in Taiwan, my brothers and sisters, including me, along with volunteers from the Fair Tax Reform Alliance and the Action Alliance to Redress 1219, we kept running back and forth between the Ministry of Finance, the National Tax Bureau, and the Administrative Enforcement Agency. We want to tell the government to follow the law, revoke the illegal tax bill, and withdraw the illegal forced auction. Because for us, this is not only a plot of land. This is a scheduled site that our 师父 and 师母 helped to build a spiritual cultivation center for 弟子. 师父 and 师母 also said that this is a home for all of us, and that when the overseas 弟子 come back, they can stay here and don't have to find a hotel anymore. For Tai Ji Men 师父 and 弟子, the stands carry a profound meaning of love and home. However, the government officials have never responded to the people's voices in accordance with their duties during the 2 months last summer. I still remember that there were nearly 1,000 people gathering at the Miaoli auction site during the second auction, demanding that the government stop its illegal auctions. The Taipei and the Central District National Tax Bureau, however, jointly took over Tai Ji Men's land and unlawfully nationalized it. I'm deeply disappointed with our country's legal and tax system, but under these circumstances, my 师父 still keep teaching us to love this country and this society, and to awaken their conscience for the government. In the process of following 师父 and fighting for redress of the Tai Ji Men case, I finally understand that the promotion of legal and tax reform is also a way to practice love and peace. This is because, through the Tai Ji Men case, we continue to speak out for the rule of law and better taxation environment in Taiwan. And more, we hope to prevent people from suffering the same persecution. We wish to return a legal taxation environment with love, justice, and human rights to Taiwan. Finally, I would like to call on the Taiwan government immediately redress the Tai Ji Men case, as this will not only foster the legal and taxation justice in Taiwan, but also promote love and peace in the world. Dr. Renee Wallow, the president of UN NGO Association of World Citizens, who has been fighting for human rights around the world for 40 years. He once wrote a letter to President Tsai, emphasizing how important Dr. Hong is to the world and how the unfair tax case has impeded Tai Ji Men. Tai Ji Men would have made a greater contribution to the world without the persecution. So, not only by promoting national diplomacy, but also by transmitting the beauty of culture for Taiwan, I call for the government to immediately redress the Tai Ji Men case. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Although Tai Ji Men has been persecuted for such a long time, they still chose to do the right thing by defending democracy and upholding human rights. We truly hope that the government could hear the voice of the youth and implement true legal and taxation justice in Taiwan. Next, we'd like to welcome another speaker. She's a college student and she will be giving us her side of the brave story. Please welcome Athena.
Thank you, Iris. Hello, everyone. My name is Athena. I am a 21-year-old college student. I've been practicing Qigong at Tai Ji Men since I was a child. Tai Ji Men has been persecuted by the fabricated tax bills for 25 years. Tai Ji Men means a lot to me, so I joined the action of Fair Tax Reform Alliance, and I, who is not a law department student, learned a lot of legal and tax knowledge in the process, and became more aware of the importance of national legal and tax reform. The Tai Ji Men case originated from prosecutor Ho Kwan-ren's abuse of power and the transfer of false information to the National Taxation Bureau, which resulted in illegal taxation. We all knew that on July 13, 2007, the Taiwan Supreme Court found Tai Ji Men not guilty and no tax evasion. In addition, Tai Ji Men has won 18 times in administrative remedies procedures. The Administrative Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Finance, Mr. Zhang Shenhe, also promised to solve the case within 2 months. According to above facts, the NTB should have automatically revoked the illegal tax bill. But sadly, the NTB defied the judicial decision and even illegally auctioned off our spiritual cultivation site on August 21st last year. I will never forget this heartbreaking memory. As Claire said, last year, we had sacrificed the whole summer to come to the Administrative Enforcement Agency and the Ministry of Finance, and not only that, the day before the auction, because we still had so little expectation and trust in the government, we came to the Control Yuan, hoping that the officials in the meeting would come out to give a fair talk to stop this tragedy from happening. However, we shouted from 5 to 10 p.m. Our voices were dumped and our throats were broken. But none of the officials came out. No one wanted to listen to our young men there. We all left in frustration. That night, I didn't close my eyes all night, and I realized that so many tax victims in Taiwan are suffering so much. We live in fear and panic day and night, not knowing where the future would be. The next day, our scheduled cultivation site was illegally auctioned and nationalized, based on the so-called the legal procedures claimed by the officials. Over the years, we have gone through various redress procedures in Taiwan. We went to Kaidagala Boulevard and many government agencies, including the Legislative Yuan, the Judicial Yuan, the Examination Yuan, the Control Yuan, and the Presidential Office many times. In this endless struggle, we have encountered many tax victims like us. We have been persecuted by illegal tax bills and have no way to get help. Not only the Tai Ji Men case, the Administrative Enforcement Agency has a jaw-dropping statistical data. According to the annual statistics of new tax and fee enforcement cases, There were 1.89 million cases in 2001 and 14.31 million cases in 2020, which is more than 7.53 times. The concern is how many unjust and false cases there may be behind this huge number. Former Justice Xu Yuxiu said, "Taxation and punishment are the two major sufferings brought to the people by the government. The people have the obligation to pay taxes, and the government has the responsibility to tax people by law. In fact, the time and money we have spent on our struggle far exceed the amount we are required to pay in illegal tax bills. The driving force behind our courage to move forward is our purest love for our country and the world. I stand up today because I love the land on which I depend for my survival, and I do not want my beloved country to lose faces in the international arena because of a persecution from a few bureaucrats. Nor do I want the less innocent people to suffer. Although our land has been illegally auctioned off, it will never take away our insistence on love and truth. The most precious thing I have learned at Tai Ji Men was to distinguish between truth and false, right and wrong, good and bad." At the 2021 International Religious Freedom Summit in Washington, D.C. in July, many ongoing religious persecutions around the world were uncovered. And the Tai Ji Men case in Taiwan received much attention. Eric Ross, chairperson of the European Interreligious Forum for Religious Freedom, said he could not understand how the few bureaucrats could be allowed to persist in persecuting a peaceful, honest spiritual community that had proven its innocence for 25 years, even as the land was confiscated by government auction. The Control Yuan investigated the illegal mistakes and the violations of human rights by the relevant government authorities, but did not let the case come to the end. A system that allows government officials to continue to abuse their power without being stopped and without being properly accused should be reformed. Taxes are an important source of economic development and the construction for the country. The country belongs to the people, so it is also people's obligation to pay taxes. However, if the government does not tax the people legally, or if it spends the tax money on matters that are not really for the benefit of the people, then the cart is put before the horse. And not only do the people not get the protection they deserve, but the country cannot develop well. Illegal taxation, including the use of taxation as a means of persecuting religious spiritual communities. In the Tai Ji Men case, we can see the injustice of Taiwan's legal and taxation system, including the malfunctioning remedy procedures and the brutality of a few offending officials who violated their authority by challenging the superiors, shaking the nation's foundation, and destroying the law system, resulting in Taiwan's obvious violations of the International Covenant on Human Rights. I would like to tell those illegal officials, if you know you have done wrong, you should have brave enough to admit it and correct it, instead of delaying it again and again, which is not only hurting the country, but also hurting yourself. Finally, I would like to call on the government to immediately redress the Tai Ji Men case and severely punish the illegal officials in order to make the national tax system fairer and better. Thank you all.
Thank you for your sharing, Athena. From the case, we can really see it's the essence of all unjust tax cases. A so-called democratic country should have not existed such serious human rights violation and abuse. It's really ashamed and painful to see. Last but not least, we'd like to welcome our final speaker. She is also a college student. Please welcome Ashley.
Hi, thanks Iris. Hello everyone, my name is Ashley, a college student. In addition to schoolwork, I'm also involved in volunteering and social movements. I live in Taiwan, a well-known democratic country which ostensibly follows the rule of law, where the people are empowered with self-governance, and the Constitution grants us this right. Today, I want to share with you one of the most incredible cases in my life. This case, the Tai Ji Men legal and tax persecution case in Taiwan, occurred before I was born and has lasted for 25 years, yet still remains unresolved. Citizens and human rights groups in Taiwan have taken to the streets, demanding that the government should pay proper attention to justice and the taxpayers' human rights, and to redress the Tai Ji Men persecution case. However, to date, the government still has not actively and effectively expressed its willingness to promote the reform of the corruption in the legal and tax system, nor has it sincerely endeavored to resolve this wrongful case that has been drawn out for 25 years. If the government agency is right, why has it lasted for 25 years without resolution? It is reasonable to suspect that there must be some problems. I believe that there is latent good and evil in every human rights. So Montesquieu proposed to separate the three powers, and in Taiwan there is a separation of 5 powers, which is intended to safeguard against the negative impacts of latent evil in human nature on the country. In the Tai Ji Men case, the unjust taxation resulted in the legal auction and confiscation of land belonging to Tai Ji Men by the government in August 2020. It is not that the government does not have the ability to correct mistakes, nor does it have no legal awareness, but the bonus systems allows rogue bureaucrats to refuse to admit their mistakes as officials protect each other. In 2007, the Supreme Court found Tai Ji Men not guilty of fraud, tax evasion, or violation of tax codes. In 2011, the Executive Yuan organized an interministerial meeting, and a public survey showed that 100% of 7,401 respondents indicate that the red envelopes were gifts. In 2018, the Supreme Administrative Court ruled that Tai Ji Men won the lawsuit. Tai Ji Men is a manpile of Qigong and martial arts, and the red envelopes were gifts. In 2019, although the National Tax Bureau knew it was wrong and corrected the tax bill of 1991, 1993, 1994, 1995, and 1996 to zero, so why did it leave the tax bill for only 1 year, 1992, to be enforced? The truth and evidence are all in front of us. The truth is, the NTB knows that it has done something wrong. The truth is, the Administrative Enforcement Agency illegally auctioned off and nationalized the sacred land belonging to Tai Ji Men by the government in August 2020. Recently, a video has been circulating on the internet of the late tax collector Shi Yuesheng, stating in the interview prior to his death that he was obliged to cooperate in spite of his protests with the investigation at the time. Prosecutor Hou Kuan-ren pressured him to falsely testify that he had discovered evidence of tax evasion in Tai Ji Men case. The Taiwan-controlled Yuan investigated and issued reports in 2002, stating that Prosecutor Hou Kuan-ren committed 8 major violations of the law in Tai Ji Men case. The controlled Yuan referred this matter to the Ministry of Justice to pursue relevant disciplinary action against the prosecutor, but the Ministry of Justice neglected its duty. For years, Taiwan's government has treated law-abiding people like prisoners and people without human rights. Mr. Stan Brownback, president of the International Summit of Religious Freedom, was shocked to learn of the Tai Ji Men case, saying that without basic human rights, mankind cannot prosper. Professor Massimo, the founder of Bitter Winter, a magazine on religious liberty and human rights, mentioned in the forum on the July 30th. It is great contribution that Dr. Hong Daozi, the president of Tai Ji Men, offered to our contemporary world when he started going from country to country, rehabilitating the idea of conscience. His efforts were so successful that the United Nations established an International Day of Conscience in 2019. What's happened to Tai Ji Men with injustice and persecution through taxes was a tragedy. But it was also an opportunity to prove that what they tell the world about conscience and friendship is not just made of empty words. When thousands and thousands of young people took to the streets to protest, a friendship rooted in conscience appeared as a lighthouse of the soul. I also follow the philosophy of Zhangmenren of Tai Ji Men, Dr. Hong, and I chose to appeal to the governments in a peaceful way instead of using violent means, because I do hope that I do hope that Taiwan can really become a better and better place. I remember one weekend when I was standing on the streets with a group of volunteers giving talks and handing out flyers. A young girl came up to me, probably about the same age as mine. She asked me what we're doing, because she said that she had seen our volunteers in different places. After I told her what we were asking for, she was very moved and admired us for sacrificing our time and energy, not for our own benefits, but for our country. I was inspired by that experience, as I confirmed that it wasn't the people didn't care about this issue or of fighting for justice and tax reform, but rather they don't know that such things are happening in Taiwan. It encourages me to work harder to let more people know about these injustices. We were like farmers who plant dandelions. Every time we participate in social movements, we plant some seeds. And when these dandelions bloom and the pollen floats in the wind, more and more people will learn about this event, and the power of passing from one to another cannot be underestimated. What I want to say is, please believe that when the majority of people are willing to follow their conscience and commit to spreading love to the world, can achieve peace. One day, officials who violate their conscience will also be inspired. Finally, I hope that all people will stand up together and work for our land, and that Taiwanese officials will learn from their mistakes so that Taiwan can be a true democracy with rule of law. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. These students, they chose to sacrifice their time during the summer break just to defend the justice and human rights in Taiwan. Only when we persist and speak the truth, the society could progress for the better. The first step for the government officials is to face the truth and solve the case immediately. As President Tsai has publicly stated that no matter how the form of government transformed, human rights protection and international human rights alignment would be the ultimate goals for them. And it's time for you to realize your words. Thank you all for the powerful words from the three young speakers. We hope these voices of the youth can be heard and resonated by more people in Taiwan and around the world. At the end of this forum, we'd like to present you with a special song. As the song sings, let's unite together for love and peace and a beautiful world. Thank you again for your participation today. We'll see you next time.